Hey everyone, Morgan here. I don't think any 10-minute conversation can really do justice to this week's album of the week. We're talking about Sgt Pepper, or more officially, Sgt Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles. And we mentioned this last week. After Pet Sounds came out, Lennon and McCartney listened to this album over and over again, really McCartney, and it had an incredibly strong influence on them. And they had said that there was no way they were not going to respond. I mean, they thought that the Beach Boys had out-Beatled the Beatles, and they wanted to truly do the same thing, to go in the studio and to let the studio become part of the band. Let the studio be one of the instruments and use different musical instruments, different recording techniques, more involved songs. For the first time, the Beatles were doing things that weren't just, 2.5, 3 minutes. They were stretching their legs, and it was really amazing. And the theme here was that they became a different band. They became Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And they took on this whole new persona. The opening track is actually, it's got like 30, maybe even 60 seconds of orchestra sounds of tuning up, and then they go into the title track, and that whole first side, one song just flows into the next. Beautiful engineering, which really, it wasn't done previous to this except in like classical music, and it really shaped what would become the hallmark of the progressive rock music. You hear it oh so well in things like Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, and the Moody Blues did it with Days of Future Past and In Search of the Lost Chord, Into Our Children's Children, and On a Threshold of a Dream. Pink Floyd did it on The Wall really well. So that whole first side, just an amazing, amazing side. The album cover, pop culture figures, left, right. Mae West sued them because Mae West said, "Why would I need a Lonely Hearts Club Band?" It was just this amazing pop culture revolution. At the time, in America, the number one selling act on the charts, believe it or not, was the Monkees. And they were a creation. Okay, they had been put together for a television show. And some famous musicians actually tried out for parts on that show. Stephen Stills from Crosby, Stills and Nash tried out and didn't get a part. But this knocked them off the charts. This just really put them to the side. And John Lennon had even said that the Monkees were the most talented creative genius since the Marx Brothers, but that wasn't going to fly anymore, not after Sgt. Pepper. The album came out in May of '67, maybe it was June, I think it was May of '67, and music was going to be different from that point forward. It was the kind of like the opening shot in the summer of love. And then you had some great albums from Hendrix and the Jefferson Airplane and the Grateful Dead that just all filled up that summer. And it was just a really great time for music. Everybody was being really experimental. Cream was out there. So when you start listening to what was going on, you're going to hear how music changed drastically in that period of time. So we could sit here and we could talk for hours and hours about this, but I've put some good links up on the webpage in the description of the album. And what I think is really just most important for you is to put the headphones on and become immersed in this other band. A few other artists have tried to take on new personas. David Bowie in the early 70s. David Bowie became Ziggy Stardust for a lot of his productions. And then right about the time Bravo opened in the early 90s, when U2 was really just at the top of the charts, their lead singer Bono, at the beginning of the Achtung Baby tour, he became this character known as the Fly, who was just kind of this conglomerate. He had Lou Reed's sunglasses and Elvis Presley's leather jacket and Jim Morrison's leather pants, and he was just, really cool. And then by the end of the tour, he had become McPhisto, which was kind of the old fat Elvis from the Vegas years. And so he was kind of going off, trying to be another character who wasn't himself. But the Beatles are the ones who really did it the best by becoming Sgt. Pepper. So enjoy this one. Listen to it. I think you're really going to love this album. Okay, this is Morgan signing off.